Hey everyone, welcome to the MotoAlliance podcast. I am Peter Kapsner, and I am with my partner in crime, the general manager of MotoAlliance, Kevin Book. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Peter.
It's fun to be back in the saddle again. It's been a few weeks since we've done this. I think we hit the summer holiday where we kind of just did the cabin thing in Minnesota. I don't have a cabin, but that's sort of a metaphor for basically deciding to work maybe 20 hours and call it 40 for the summer. Isn't that how like Minnesotans work, basically?
It feels like that sometimes, and then it feels like we maybe only had a week or two before here we are now in mid-November. So
that's really true. Well, we've got one of our favorite human beings that we have ever met in the 19-year history of MotoAlliance. Ben Mooers is with us. He's an avid ATV, UTV aficionado. He's been on the podcast before. And Ben, great to have you with us as the temperature is turning. I woke up this morning, it was 43 degrees outside. I'm starting to think about heat and plows and covering up the UTV and all of that. You must be starting the transition to winter riding too.
Oh, absolutely. Totally getting excited for it. You guys, hey, thanks for you flatter. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be on, you guys. I'm always like charged up for like 6 weeks after I talk to you guys, because it's I surf the waves of your positivity.
I love it
all day long.
Well, and KB, when we first met Ben, when he came down to our facility, he and his friend Dean, he's sort of the lead of the ATV forum. It was just a blast. We've covered that before on previous podcasts, but why don't you refresh us with one of the ideas that these two had for the Polaris Sportsman in particular, what we discovered and where we are in the process, because we're pretty close to seeing that idea actually make it into the marketplace.
Yeah, well, we were, it was my pre-beginning to MotoAlliance. It was the week before my starting week.
And that was the best. Like, you came to Moto and you were like all in and you weren't even getting paid. I loved those days at MotoAlliance. Those were my favorite days, was your just gratis work.
So it was super fun to meet these guys even before I fully jumped in. And it was my first exposure to just some of the product development work that's been done in the past with partnering with our local community and just understanding what it is that our users are seeing out in terms of needs for just equipment for their machines. But Dean and Ben came in office or into the warehouse, and we just started having conversations about what it would look like to take our HIGHLANDS line into sort of the ATV world. And as we were starting to explore Ben's machine, who brought his Sportsman machine down, one of the big things that we were focusing on was obviously the cargo box that would sit on the back of the machine. And he's got a touring model, so he's got the seat that's at the back. And so we scanned that out and talked about all that would need to happen there. And it was a really really positive visit there. But it was actually a side conversation that happened between Ben and I, where we had talked about the seat and how the seat comes out, and I was asking him questions about what happens when the seat comes out. What do you guys typically do when you have you don't have a need for the seat? Do we need to take anything into consideration when it comes to a box to accommodate maybe that space or whatever? And it was common that Ben was sharing, people put a piece of cardboard, or they'll fit something in there, or they'll jam a bunch of stuff in just to kind of cover this void. And so it just began conversations then between he and I, and we involved you and Spencer just in, okay, what does it look like to potentially not just accommodate the machine with a cargo box that could go on the back, but what if there's a smaller accessory box that could be used if anytime that the seat was pulled out? And so we just started playing with that idea, and now we're at a point where we've got a prototype there, and we're really excited about a potential option to have a smaller accessory box that can be used whenever the seat is not inserted on these touring models. So
yeah, super helpful background, because Ben, you have that prototype as we speak. You are the only person on planet Earth, of the 8 or so billion people that exist on this planet right now. You are the sole owner of the prototype of this idea that you came up with. So tell us about what's happening.
So like I got to tell you, it's pretty amazing. And to go back to Kevin's story, like I remember the story was like perfect. Like it's perfect. But the way that I remember it is you were talking to Dean And we had kind of he would pull the seat off, and it was like, oh, there's this big space, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing to put in here and anything like that. And then we kind of looked at you, and you were kind of in the middle of talking with Dean, and I was like, hey, look at this. You pull this seat off, and there's this giant space here. There's nothing to put here. Let's make a box and put a box in here. And you just looked at us and were like, we're doing it. And now here we are. So
Here
it
we
was
are.
just that was it. It was, we're doing it.
And
It was
you
awesome.
guys helped to design it up, and you actually have that in possession. You fit it into the space, right? You've actually
It did. I've
proved it
actually
out.
been out. I've been riding on it. Yeah. So I've got a bunch of miles on it, and I've been doing testing on it, and I am absolutely stoked. It changed the entire, it just changed the entire way I view my machine, and actually the way the entire machine rides. I don't know how much that seat weighs, the seat component weighs on the touring machine. So we're talking the Polaris 850 and the 1000 touring machines, that chassis. And I don't know. I mean, it's got to weigh 35 pounds or something, 35, 40 pounds. And the thing that I noticed the most, man, when if my wife isn't with me, or if I'm riding alone, I don't want to have that big seat back there. I wanted a little more freedom, but I also wanted a storage solution. And all my test riding, I pull that seat off. It changed the entire ride of that machine. I mean, it just huge smile on my face. Like the machine was really responsive. It's got that longer wheelbase. I mean, for me, anybody that would be getting a touring machine, it just seems like the best thing to do, because now you've got this 2-up option that you can have 2 people on it. And then now here we have a solution that maybe you're not riding with another person and you just want the single machine. Pop the day box in, and you're ready to roll. And I mean, I had no issues in testing. It didn't get hot. It stored everything that I needed. It was simple. It was easy. It's built really solid. You could actually, I mean, the biggest thing I noticed was getting used to not feeling the seat behind me. Like it was a little bit different. It's just such a different ride. So, I mean, home run. I mean, it was just unreal.
Yeah,
It's just amazing.
It's really fun to think about, because how often would you say, Ben, when you're out riding, that somebody is using that supplementary seat, or you need it yourself versus taking it out? And it seems like it does give a really good option for somebody to ride on their own and have a place to just put some stuff that they need to take with them.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is when somebody's looking at buying a machine, it's like, well, look, here's the deal. Let's spend a little bit of the extra money, get the bigger machine, get the bigger wheelbase. And we don't always have to have this seat on the back now. We can pull the seat off and just put the day box in. It's super exciting. I mean, it just really, really changed the game for me with this machine.
KB, I think we've got to take that clip out that Ben did. Like he's representing our company better than you and I ever could right now. I'm kind of thinking we need to take this clip and just like push it through all of our video listings everywhere we go.
I agree.
You guys got to let me digress for a second, because while I was out,
I don't think we have a choice,
machine,
Ben. I think that's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen. So here's the thing. While I was out riding this machine, being all happy, I kind of came up with like the best commercial for this box. Do you guys want to hear
this.
Okay, so here it is. Basically, this is it. Like, if I had an unlimited budget, I would give you guys the money to finance this commercial. Okay, so
Okay.
I like, this is the way it would be. So I'm out riding on my machine. I get done with the day. I get off the machine. It's like the seat's not in the way. I swing my leg over. Everybody's looking like, whoa, what is that? That's a Polaris 2-up. No, it's got this box on it, and in my head, you hear like my inner voice. I go, that was like the best riding day ever. I really wish I had some tacos. And then what happens is like I look up, and all of a sudden there's like a band of ninjas getting ready to attack me, right? And they kind of have red and glowing eyes, and they have nunchuckas and the stars and everything like that. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And then all of a sudden my machine transforms, right? Like it goes transforms into like the transformer, and it starts doing battle with the ninjas. So this is the commercial for the box, right? And it's like doing battle with the ninjas, and then all of a sudden like it's starting to lose, and then what does it do? It opens up it opens up the Highlands like the Highlands MotoAlliance box, and it pulls out the Autobot matrix of leadership, opens it up, and you hear Optimus Prime's voice, light our darkest hour. And then it's like, you got the touch. And all of a sudden, like all the ninjas are evaporating and everything like that. And it's like day saved, right? Day saved. The machine comes over to me and it's still in its transformer mode, it hands me its hand, pulls me up off the ground. Once again, opens up the Highlands MotoAlliance box, hands me a bag of tacos, goes over to my trailer, ties itself down, retransforms into my machine. I look over at a table, and there's Dean sitting there with his feet up on the table. He's got a cigar like hanging out of his mouth, and he goes, I love it when a plan comes together. Da 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 da. A-Team song, right? Da 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 da. And then it's like all of a sudden, then it's just like Highlands powered by MotoAlliance Day Box on the screen.
Dude,
that would be my commercial.
End scene.
Dude,
End scene.
That seriously, I mean, if we could pull, I think the only problem is you're actually underselling what the Day Box is capable of. You know, it can hold more than Optimus Prime, you know, taking out a bunch of ninjas. That is a remarkable, Kevin. I can find a lot of money in our advertising budget for that very commercial.
Yes.
Here's the thing. After I came up with this commercial for the most incredible box, I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing. So after I came up with this, I was like, you know what we're doing? We're doing the first commercial ever with an end credit scene, because I need you here with me. I just need you to really feel like this commercial was awesome, right? So we're at the point where it goes, you know, Highlands powered by MotoAlliance, and you see the logo, right? Then all of a sudden, lightning comes down out of the sky, and the logo is stung by a scorpion at the same time, and everything just like explodes, and then the screen fades to black, and then it morphs into a cobra. And this is the moment, Peter, that you realize this whole commercial was taking place on the back of the Cobra Kai Sensei's gi.
Yes, Johnny Lawrence. This is perfect.
Yes, right. And he turns around and he looks right at the camera and he goes, buy the box, sweep the leg. And that's it. I mean, people's minds are blown, right? Like I don't care. I got like a 1994 Pontiac Grand Am. I'm buying a box.
For sure.
Like that's how amazing this thing is. It's incredible.
Amazing.
I just actually, Alicia's sitting here right now, and we're sort of in stunned silence of reverence for these ideas, because Alicia, you're a digital production major. Obviously, you graduated, and that was your degree. So this has to be whetting your appetite for a series of MotoAlliance commercials along this exact same script.
Oh my goodness, this is going to launch an entire series.
It
for
is.
Yes,
we're actually getting into the story now of Highlands Box. It's not just I buy a box. I mean, we're talking about bringing in all of the big names from the 80s and 90s. When you rolled out the A-Team theme song, I was amazed at how quickly I was 11 years old again.
Me too.
Right.
With my TV dinner.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel I let you down, though. I really tried to work in the part from Predator where Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, you know, they do that like handshake thing, you know, like they slap hands, you know, Dylan, you know, and they slap hands. But the whole commercial didn't make any sense, you know, like it just ruined everything. So it wasn't fluid. So I'll try harder next time.
Yeah, no. I think we've already got 2 commercials already queued up at this point. I mean, Kevin, what's the next step here? Are you going to go up with Ben and like draw out the script and animate with Alicia? What are we going to do here?
Well, yeah, and I feel like right now there's an imbalance because all of our commercials are geared towards just this Day Box. So I just want to spread them out across a few of our different product lines, maybe.
Well, this is a Highlands campaign, is what it sounds like to me. I mean, think about what can pop out of all the different boxes. I mean, you open up the CF Moto Z-Force box, or the gas struts on one of the Polaris Ranger boxes slowly opens with some fog machines and everything. And who knows? Dracula comes out of there. Who knows what could happen here?
That's
Dracula with tacos. I mean, that's that's how awesome these boxes are. Like I can't say it enough how much of a game changer it is.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Amazing. I love that idea. Well, okay. Well, we appreciate
let me just say.
Please go, Kevin. Yes. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm hardly ever at a loss for words, and Ben did it to me.
Well, so one thing I want to ask a question about, because I'm sure prior to prior to us just exploring sort of where we could go from an advertising standpoint, I'm sure there are questions, but by anybody who's listening, like, how big is this thing?
Right.
What can go in this thing? So clearly, the imagination is limitless in terms of what comes out of the box, but in terms of what can go in the box, give us a sense of what you use on your rides, what you're using it for, and what size are we talking? Because we have like the specs on how big it is, but I want
Right.
you to give us an idea, Ben, in terms of how you're using it, what you were able to fit in there, that type of stuff that's going to mean something to somebody.
When I was out riding, I mean, if I wanted to, so I got like my water bottle in there. I put like my license and my keys in there. I put my at one point I got hot on a ride, and so I actually rolled up. I had like a big cotton hoodie on, so I actually rolled that up and I actually put that in there with everything. You could put a small like your snacks. You could put several cans of like carbonated water, soda, whatever you want, like in there. I mean, it just there was pretty much it contains the space that I would need to put everything in there for a day ride. I could put my rain gear in there, pretty much anything. Like, I mean, what I would need to ride for the day, I could put in that little day box alone. That's kind of like that's how it was. I remember the best part was I didn't get up or have to get up off the machine or anything or open up my front box. I literally was still sitting in the place, took off my hoodie, popped the 2 latches, and right behind me, just tucked in my sweatshirt when I took that off, and then clip, and I was rolling again. It was super, super easy. So very convenient.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, it actually does launch another series of commercials, though, Ben, I think, because you have what comes out of the box, but we could actually make what goes in the box. And when you get inside, it's like the TARDIS where it's bigger on the inside, or Harry Potter tent, or Oscar the Grouch garbage can, something like that.
Yo, you had me at Harry Potter tent. We're doing it.
Like literally, it just shows you jumping in a swimming pool after you've entered the day box, something along those lines.
Right. I mean, that just it was really just amazing, and I just how easy it was to just transition from the box to the seat, and there wasn't really a whole there was it was simple. That's the best part about it, is simple.
I love it.
So
well,
and I think the design is really thoughtful too. When I was looking at the pictures that you sent us, what I noticed was that it's really sits flush with the back factory rack that comes as a part of the Polaris 850 that you have, so that if you still needed to put something like a large cooler or anything, there would be clearance to be able to put that on the rack, and the day box is not going to inhibit you from being able to put something across the back of your machine there. Right.
Almost any fittable Highlands box would look great on the back, since it's flush.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, we've just got a couple minutes left here. I was thinking, is now the time where we invite Ben for the big reveal of one last secret to this box, of which he doesn't know right now?
Maybe. Ben, do you have the box with you?
I do. It's like right next to me.
Oh, then I think we need to do this, Ben, because just to set up the context here, we sent you that box, and why don't you describe the little strip of tape that is on the box, and you have. You've inquired at least once, if not more than a few times, about what's under the tape. So just kind of set the scene here, and then Kevin and I will think about whether today is the day you're going to rip off that tape.
Yeah, so we noticed right away the first time that they brought the box up to fit, we were like, the first thing they said was, "Don't look under the tape." And then we were like, "Oh, there's tape underneath here." So I've had this thing in my possession for a while, and it's just been really hard. I feel like a kid at Christmas, like shaking the Christmas packages.
That's exactly the analogy. Yep.
Kind of see what it is, but yeah, we've kind of speculated. I don't know what's under the tape. Every time I text Kevin, I'm like, "What's under the tape?" I mean, it's just kind of how our conversation starts. So.
Well, I think without any further ado, we're about 2 months away from this day box being in the market. We've just started production on them, the first 400 units, and we're very excited to get them into the marketplace. And every day box is going to come with what is under that tape. And so I think it might not be obvious at first what it is, but I think we'll get to it. and you'll understand the significance of it here in just a couple minutes. So I think, Ben, why don't you go ahead and unstrip that tape?
Rip off the tape.
Rip off the tape.
Off the tape. Big live moment. And it says, Autobot Matrix of Leadership sold separately.
It was very small font.
Yeah.
It says S&B. S&B.
Do you have any idea what S&B stands for, Ben? It was part of a conversation we had over pints of beer while we went out for the first time after that first meeting.
I don't remember.
So
No.
and it's a tip of the hat to you.
It was a phrase that you used, a value that you have. It's small and
Beautiful.
it is indeed. So this is a tip of the hat to you, Ben. You have immortalized yourself on the Highlands Day Box, because why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about your value of small and beautiful, because we're putting it on every one of these.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just I really am just a fan of I kind of thought that about, your company. I've seen, like just great companies in existence, especially, the hospital where I work at. And there's these companies that are amazing, like Patagonia and Koenigsegg, Ferrari, these small companies, but they're beautiful. They make they don't do anything the highest quality. They're always just very committed to their how they do business and how they treat people. And I think we were sitting there and I said, your company reminds me of this. It's small but beautiful. It's small and beautiful. So it's just, I've always kind of been drawn to those types of companies that are out there. So yeah.
Well, you obviously influenced us, and it actually will be a tangible reminder of everyone that we send out that value that you so articulately shared that day would be something that, because business is business, right? I mean, you sometimes get stuck in a rut, or you forget about how important it is, or maybe you think you've already told one customer one thing, but the next customer is the first customer for you, or at least it should be. And so to treat them the same way you did your first ever customer, you made an impact on us that day, Ben. So you're every bit woven into sort of the atmosphere of MotoAlliance with some of the values that you have.
Well, I'm really touched. Thanks, you guys. That's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love
absolutely amazing.
Okay, Book, you got anything else for Ben? I mean, we don't want to, not take advantage of his obvious creative skill.
Yeah. No, I mean, I came in with low expectations of this conversation. No, I did not at all. I came in with extremely high expectations.
It exceeded everything. It exceeded everything.
All the more. So it feels like I want him as like a weekly guest so that we can just explore levels of obscurity even all the more. So
I kind of wonder if the MotoAlliance podcast needs to morph where we have multiple guests and it turns into like an hour-long weekly show, right?
I love it.
Yeah, kind of like almost, what is that, like that deadliest catch, behind the catch or whatever it is when they're all sitting there at a table.
Yes.
That's totally it.
But for the off-road community, that would be amazing. But I have to say though, I'm really, you guys, thank you so much for like, your hospitality and having me on. And, like, because when I told my wife about my commercial idea, she made me sleep outside, man. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, if we can bring the funding, you're going to have many more nights sleeping outside. You just keep that you keep that brain working, pal, because if we can get Alicia to start doing adverts like this, we're going to be rolling.
Definitely will. You guys are amazing.
I love it. Ben,
love working with you.
Yeah, we love it too. KB, it's just been fun to be back in the podcast with Ben here.
So great.
Yeah, love it. All right. Well, for Alicia and for Ben and for Kevin, this has been Peter. This is the MotoAlliance podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.